Hello, guys. So, good evening to everyone. So, we have a special guest with us. It's an honor to have Mr. Srikanth. He has more than 8 years of experience in corporate world, both in India as well as in US. So, he is from clinical data management domain. So, I'm very honored for Mr. Srikanth because he has voluntarily has come up for student welfare guidance and all for that same goal for which this channel is all about. So, yeah, please introduce yourself, Mr. Srikanth.
Yeah, thank you, Shushma. So, hello everyone. My name is Shrikant Pejwada. I did my bachelor's in pharmacy back in India, and then I worked there for a few years in pharma and CRO industries, and then I moved to US for pursuing my master's in information systems. And then again, I started my career in clinical data management field, and right now I am working as a senior clinical data manager in one of the pharmaceutical company based in New Jersey.
Nice, nice. Yeah, Srikanth, okay, we'll get to the point directly. So, guys, this duration of video with podcast with Mr. Srikanth will be very interesting, and all the questions which all postgraduate students, especially M-Farm or PharmD people, it will be useful for them whoever want to go to US and pursue thing like course or job interview and everything basic information. Srikanth will give all details. So keep tuned with that. Okay. So next question is, please tell us about your professional journey, how has been.
Yeah, sure. So my professional journey, I started my career as a data management intern. Once after I graduated back in India, I started looking jobs, especially in clinical research domain field. For some reason, I don't know, I was not like much interested into core pharmaceutical sectors like QA, QC, and formulation. So I was more attracted towards clinical research industry, and then I targeted looking for jobs in clinical data management, pharmacovigilance, and some other informatics field. So finally, I got an opportunity as a data management intern, and I that period was almost like 45 days, and then I got hired as a full-time employee in data management domain. Then I worked there for almost a couple of years within the data management field, and then I applied for my master's in information systems in US from Wilmington University. So the reason for taking information systems as my program is, so since I'm a pharmacy graduate, I have knowledge about this pharmaceutical science and pharmaceutical fields, but I want to gain more knowledge about the systems development, which is my area of interest. So I applied for information systems. I graduated. So I did my master's in information systems, and then I started searching jobs here in clinical data management. Since I have already some experience back in India, so I used my Indian experience and I landed in my first job in US as a clinical data coordinator. Then I worked there for a few months, and then again I switched to another company as a clinical data manager. So finally, I right now in a senior clinical data manager role.
Nice, nice, nice. Please tell us about different avenues for pharma freshers to be aware of, and how with different types of, avenues are there, and how they can pursue and all. Just a brief idea, and based on your experience as well.
Yeah, sure. So, especially for the pharma graduates, those who are planning to pursue their masters in USA, there are a lot many other options. Especially like I was speaking about a lot many other programs where pharma graduates can apply for. So we don't have to stick with only like pharmaceutical analysis, pharmaceutics, or pharmacology, the core fields. We can also opt for masters in healthcare informatics, bioinformatics, clinical research, and also even we can opt for data science and also information systems technology. So the reason I am highlighting these courses are, being a pharma graduate, we don't have to stick with only the jobs related to pharmaceutical industry. We can even also start our career, or also we can find jobs related to healthcare technology, and especially with the lot of recent development in artificial intelligence and machine learning, there is a lot of efforts are being put towards in learning new skills, especially related to data science. So if those who are interested in programming, they can opt for MS in data science. Right now, there is a lot of demand for people with the skills of machine learning and artificial intelligence. And also, if you take up masters in healthcare informatics, right now most of the hospitals in US, they're moving towards electronic health records, so implementing electronic health records, electronic medical records. I believe most of the major hospitals back in India also are implementing these electronic health records. So if you are graduating with masters in healthcare informatics, you can find jobs in healthcare health tech companies like Cerner, who are leading companies in developing these electronic health records and all. And if you pursue masters in bioinformatics, which is also another good field, you can find a lot of job opportunities, especially in the universities, research companies, R&Ds, and also a lot of pharmaceutical companies are heavily investing in this bioinformatics research. And similar to that, we have also some programs related to clinical research. If you are like very interested in clinical research and if you want to continue pursuing your career in clinical research, there are some universities who are offering masters in clinical research. Similar to that, we can also opt for MS in biostatistics, epidemiology, pharmacoepidemiology. So if you take up those courses, you can work in research related fields, and also you can work in healthcare sector as well. And I can take myself as an example. So I did my masters in information systems technology. So the reason for that, I have a pharmacy background, but I'm working in clinical data management field back in India. So as a clinical data manager, I need to have knowledge about the clinical domain. Like basically, if you give me a protocol, I can able to review the protocol and understand the study design requirements and all the clinical and medical terminology. At the same time, as a data manager in my day-to-day job, I have to work with cross-functional teams. Like I have to work with the IT team, I have to work with programmers, I have to work with database designers, and also sometimes we have to collaborate with other cross-functional teams. So if I have more knowledge about this systems development and databases, data warehousings, so it will be really helpful for me during my day-to-day job if I have some knowledge in information systems and development. So that's the reason I opted my master's in information systems. So one thing I want to highlight here is information systems is different from information technology. Information systems mainly deal with the process and people and about the data processing, but information technology is more towards like IT and programming. So there is one thing I have observed: people who are pharmacy graduate, most of the people do not have much interest towards programming. So for such kind of people, they can opt for information systems as a programming masters, where you don't have to worry about learning any Java, C, C plus like programming languages. So information systems is not a core IT program. Most of the pharma graduates will be convenient or comfortable in completing this program.
Okay, so I just want to know, like, in while you were doing MS in this information system, right? You did
Mhm.
that, yeah,
Information systems.
yeah. So in that, did you come across any PharmD graduates from India or from the US itself?
Um, I believe I haven't came across any Pharm D graduates, but I have seen a lot of people from B Farm, M Farm. They have opted for information systems, but because this is not like a core IT program. But I think there might be some Farm D graduates who has done masters in information systems, but there might not be in my university. But there might be some people who have pursued this course in other universities.
Okay, okay. So, regarding experience, I just wanted to know, like, is it like if I have, for example, if I take myself, I have
Mhm.
clinical research experience. So, do you suggest that you have to do masters in clinical research, and then when you are going for job, then they will consider your experience, or there is no need for doing masters? What do you say?
Masters in US, you're asking? Or?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so if you want to work in US, the best way is to pursue master's program. So then only you will get eligibility for work authorization.
3
By
years,
working
right?
in, so it depends. Yeah, I will talk about it. So
Okay, okay.
about the work authorization. So if you do your masters in US, then you will be eligible for getting the post-study work authorization. But if you are work in India and directly want to work in US, then you have to find an employer who can sponsor you an H-1B visa. So especially in pharmaceutical field, I see this bit difficult. Like if you compare with the IT field,
IT.
they will have more opportunities where they can find a sponsor who can file an H1B if you are working in India. But in pharmaceutical field, I see it's a bit difficult compared to IT sector. So that's why I opted for pursuing my masters. Then it will be a very clear path for you to get a work authorization, and then you can move forward applying for your H1B visa.
Okay. So next question is, Srikant, is it advisable to approach broad education consultancies for admissions?
Mhm. I would say very big no for approaching educational consultancies, especially if you are applying for masters in US universities. I'm not well aware of other countries, but especially if you're applying for US, it's better not to approach the education consultancies. I will tell you the reason. If you approach any education consultancies, they will direct you to the universities where they will be getting some commission based on your admission. There are lot many other good universities where the consultancies will not suggest you. So do not depend on educational consultancies. Try to do your own research. So everything is there in front of you. Try to use the internet research. Try to find out the universities. It's very easy. So for example, let's say a pharmacy graduate or a pharmacy graduate is interested in applying MS in pharmacology. They can directly go to the internet, search the universities who are uh, providing masters in pharmacology. Then we can directly drop an email to the international graduate admissions department asking the requirements. So we don't have to approach any educational consultants. If we approach them, they will direct you to only some selected universities where they will get the commission. So that's why it's better to do your own research, and always try to do a clear communication directly with the university admissions department, international graduate admission. There will be a contact email. You can send all your queries, questions to that email. They will respond you back. And also another best way to get information is, for example, if you are applying for MS in pharmacology and you have noticed University of Pittsburgh is offering that course, so directly go to the Facebook, type in University of Pittsburgh and try to connect with the current students who are pursuing the course in that university. Try to connect with them, get their feedback. Then only you will know the real time situation, what is happening, what is good at the university, what is bad at that university. So that's the best way to approach when you're applying for masters.
Okay, okay. So, yeah, next question is, so like this, if we do our own research and then deciding which course we have to do, and then searching about the universities and all, that we can do by ourselves. Everything is available in internet, as you have
Right.
said, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, next question is, yeah, what are the key factors to be considered while selecting the course or university? Like H1B related course, STEM, like that.
Yeah, so while selecting the program, personally, in my point of view, there are few things which you have to consider. So, in my opinion, the very first thing is about the work authorization. So, in US, all the programs are categorized into, when I say the programs, the specialization, the master's program which you are coming for, all the programs are categorized into STEM related courses or non-STEM related courses. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and management. So when you are researching about the universities and programs you are interested, try to find a course which falls under STEM category. If the course falls under STEM category, you will get 3 years of work authorization. If the course falls under non-STEM category, then you will only get 1 year of post-study work authorization, which we call it as OPT, optional practical training. So I will take an example. So if you're interested in regulatory affairs and you are applying for MS in regulatory affairs, so most of the universities in US, the regulatory affairs program falls under non-STEM category. So if you are graduating with MS in regulatory affairs, which falls under non-STEM category, you will get only 1 year of work authorization. But whereas I will take another example as MS in healthcare informatics. Most of the universities A MS in healthcare informatics program falls under STEM category. If you are graduating with a STEM program, then you will get 1 plus 2 years of post study work authorization. So basically you will be getting 3 years of work permit if you are graduating with a MS in a STEM program. So that is very important. So how you can determine whether your program falls in STEM or non-STEM? You can directly email to your university admission department asking whether this program falls under STEM category or non-STEM category. The reason why I am stressing on this is, let's say you came for US for pursuing your masters, you will invest your time, money, and effort. So after doing all this, if you are having only 1 year of work authorization, it's like very less time. You at least have to, your intention is to at least gain few years of work experience in US. And also if you are having only 1 year of work authorization, you will have only one attempt to file your H1B visa. So that's why it's very important to determine whether your course falls under STEM or non-STEM category.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So next question is regarding fees. Like, how is the
Mhm.
fee structure for MS program? Can we easily pay back the student loan after graduating?
Yeah, so the tuition fee for the MS program is highly dependent on the university and the course you are taking up. I would roughly say it at least you have to pay like 15 lakhs INR rupees to 30 lakhs. So it totally depends on the university and program which you are applying for. And coming to the next question, paying back the loan, yes, definitely you can pay back your student loan. Like when you convert the dollars to Indian rupees, it looks like a huge amount when you are about, like when you are planning for applying for the masters. And even for me personally, I was also very hesitant when I am applying for master. Why? Because we have to invest a lot of money, like you have to
Yes,
pay a
yes.
lot of tuition fee. But do not worry about, do not be hesitant applying for good universities. So take the student loan, and once after you graduate, when you land your job, easily you can pay back your student loan. Do not get scared of seeing that like a huge amount of tuition fee. Definitely, once you land in your good job, you can definitely pay back all your student loan.
Okay, nice, nice. Thank you for stressing that because yeah,
Yeah, no
people
problem.
are scared. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, can we do MS after doing M pharmacy? You have answered it already, right? Yeah.
Yes, definitely. We can do MS after pursuing MPharm or even after pursuing PharmD degree also. Like so usually most of the people they come for MS after completing the B Pharm, but it's not a requirement that you cannot come for master's program after completing your MS. You can definitely apply for MS after completing your MPharm. And also same for the PharmD graduates as well.
Yes, yes. Okay. So, will the Indian work experience be considered in the US?
Yes, Indian work experience will be considered in US, but again, it depends. There are some companies who will consider your Indian work experience, but some companies they may not consider your Indian work experience. But let's say like you have some 2 or 3 years of experience in India and you came for masters in US, and when you started applying, some companies will consider your Indian work experience, and some companies do not consider. So if you are having an Indian work experience, then definitely it's an added advantage. But if you are not having an work experience back in India, then it's totally fine. It's not a mandatory for you to land a job in US to have a Indian work experience. So for people those who do not have Indian work experience, the best thing is to land in a very good internship while they are graduating from the university. So if you find a good internship opportunity in US, then you can remove your fresher tag, so it will be easy for you when you are searching for jobs in US.
Yeah. So, same like I have wanted to just mention this for freshers. Like, for example, company X is there, and it is
Mhm.
small, and the client for which they are providing services is Y, which is very big, and that has multiple branches all over the globe. So
Mhm.
when the employee is working in X and the Y company is there in our country as well, so in the interview process they will definitely consider that candidate more than in comparison to others, because they have already have done projects, they know the system, how it works and all.
Mhm.
So if they go abroad by chance and that Y company is there also, so
Mhm.
definitely it is an added advantage in compared to other small company experience.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, if you have some MNC work experience in India, then once you come here, then definitely that experience is considered here.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So last question is, yeah, two questions are there.
Mhm.
Okay. Can you talk about work authorization and H1B visa after completing MS in the USA?
Yeah, so I will elaborate about this work authorization phases, when and how it will get started. So once after you apply for your masters in USA, by the time you are graduating, you will basically pass through three phases. The first one is the CPT, which is called curricular practical training, and then you will be into the OPT phase, which is called optional practical training (OPT), and then you will move to H1B phase. So when you are completing your course, this CPT, curricular practical training, is very similar to like kind of a internship period. Like, when we are pursuing like B Farm and M Farm, usually in our final semester we will have this project period like 4 months or 6 months. Those this CPT is similar like this. So this CPT is part of your course. So if you want to graduate, you have to complete that CPT period, and this CPT work authorization is granted by your university. So it's more like kind of a internship period. And this CPT rules differs from university to university. Some universities allow you to work like 40 hours per week in the companies as a intern. Some universities they will grant you only 20 hours of work authorization. I would not say it as a work authorization, but basically you will get eligibility to work as a intern, and you can be
Okay.
even get paid for this internship. So that is CPT, and by the time you graduate, and if you utilize this CPT period very wisely for getting an internship, so the best thing is, if you are approaching your CPT period, let's say in Jan 2022, you have to start your searching at least like 3 to 4 months before starting applying for all the positions available through Indeed or LinkedIn, so that by the time you approach the CPT, if you have an internship offer in your hand, then that's the best thing. By the time you graduate, you will get at least few months of real-time work experience. So once after you graduate by completing this CPT, then you have to apply for the post-study work permit, which we call it as OPT, optional practical training. So as we discussed before, if you are graduating with a non-STEM course, then you will only get 1 year of work authorization. But if you are graduating with a STEM course, then it will be 1 year of work authorization. Again, you have to file for an extension. Then again, the USCIS will grant you an additional 2 years of work authorization. So totally you'll get 3 years of work authorization if you are graduating with a STEM course. And
Okay,
then
okay.
the H1B.
Yeah. H1B, tell about that.
So yeah, H1B, as we said, as I said before, if you are graduating with a STEM course, you will get 3 attempts for applying your H1B visa. Usually, H1B visa will be applied yearly once. So if you are graduating with a STEM course where you will get 3 years of work authorization, you will have 3 attempts for applying for your H1B visa. So as you know, this H1B is a lottery system. We cannot be sure that your H1B application will get picked in the very first attempts. There are people who got their H1B application picked up in first attempt, those who are very lucky, and there are people who got their H1B picked up in second or third attempt. And also there are people who haven't got their H1B picked up even in three chances. But it's rare cases. There are like a small percentage of people, but usually 3 attempts is good enough for you to be lucky to get your application picked up in the H1B lottery. So during this OPT period, when you are working, you have to find an employer who can file you an H1B application for you. So during this 3 years period, you will be working, and at the same time, you will be trying to file your H1B. Once it gets picked up in the lottery, if it gets approved, it depends. Sometimes they will approve you 2 years, sometimes they will approve you 3 years. So again, after 3 years, again you can file for an extension. Again, it will get approved for another 2 years or 3 years. It keep on going like that.
Okay, okay. So, and one more thing, as you said, 2 years extension like that. So,
Mhm.
for the, for the student, like when they have got extension, can they move from one company to other, or is it not like that, just sticking to one company? How it is?
Yeah. So switching in between the companies, when you are in OPT phase, which is the optional practical training phase, it's very easy switching the companies. Like you work for a company X for 1 year, and then if you want to move to other company, you have to report to your university that you are changing employer X to Y. But when you are on H1B, it's a little bit tricky. I would not say tricky. It's a little bit time consuming. Like you first have to send an application to USCIS, the granting authority, who will grant you authorization to move from one company to another company. Then only you have to switch from company A to B. But when you are working in OPT, it is easy. You have to just inform to your university, your DSO, that is a designated school official, and you can switch from one company to another company. There are no
Okay.
restrictions. You can move from one company to another company.
Yeah, okay, okay. And it will be nice for our viewers if by your experience and from your people around you, you can give
Mhm.
somewhat summary of like in a PDF Word document about, for example, you said like clinical research, bioinformatics, data science, information system,
Mhm.
IT, and also few universities which you can say are affordable in terms of affordability or in terms of quality. Can you have some Word document or PDF so that we can have it in JD?
Yeah, maybe I can do that, but it's like uh,
Lot
vast
of,
amount of universities, a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
courses, but at least I can try to put down some courses related to uh, pharmaceutical field in various universities.
Okay, thank you, Srikanth. And yeah,
Yeah, no
guys,
problem.
yeah, as Mr. Srikanth has said already that
Yeah,
he will
and one more
try. Yeah, yeah, please.
I want to add one more thing. So another thing I want to add is about GRE. So being a pharma graduate, personally, I am not really good at mathematics. So when I started applying for my masters, I was really bit hesitant that I have to prepare for my GRE, graduate record examination, where you have to go through a lot of mathematics. But keep this in mind: there are a lot of good universities where the GRE is not mandatory for applying masters in pharmacy related fields. Not only pharmacy, there are like other courses like healthcare informatics or bioinformatics or clinical research, or even in within the pharmacy also, where GRE is not mandatory for getting admission. You can just give TOEFL or IELTS. Based on that, you can get the admission. But what I have done is I still have written GRE. Why? Because I have applied for universities where GRE is mandatory, and also have applied for universities where GRE is not mandatory. So yeah, I want to
Okay.
highlight. But most of the pharmacy graduates, they are not a bit hesitant to prepare for this GRE because of this heavy mathematics.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. And many have come to this field by that fear only.
Yeah,
Yeah, so guys, yeah, you might have got now an brief understanding about what things you have to check, and you have to make sure, importantly highlighted about GRE status of the universities and many other things. So yeah, Srikanji, any final summary overview for the students' last advice you want to tell?
yeah. The final advice I would give is don't have to depend on anyone to guide you or push you. Like you can do all your research by yourself. Use internet, use Facebook, use LinkedIn. So what I have done when I was applying for my masters is I totally relied on Facebook, to be honest. Why? Because Facebook is the best platform to connect with all the people. Within Facebook, we have a lot of groups like F1 Visa, OPT groups, and even you can directly join groups related to the universities where you are applying. You can connect to the students. You can directly send a message and try to get their feedback, and also try to grow your LinkedIn profile. If your LinkedIn profile is not well established by the time you are graduating, then you are minimizing 50% of your job opportunities. Try to grow your LinkedIn profile as much as you can, and try to connect with people within your in your industry. Like if you are in pharmaceutical or if you are in clinical research, try to connect with people, grow your LinkedIn profile. That will land you in job once you graduated.
Okay, okay. So, Mr. Srikant, just I wanted to know, like, you are like senior manager in clinical data management, right? And you have done information system in MS in that. So now in that position, now are you doing CDM work still, or how it is?
Yeah, so it's like a kind of a hybrid model. So as a clinical data manager in my day-to-day job, I will be working on the clinical trial protocols where I have to understand the clinical trial terminology, the medical terminology, and also the clinical terminology. And at the same time, working as a senior clinical data manager, I have to closely work with the clinical trial programmers like SAS programming. I have to work with sometimes the IT team. I have to work with the database design and developers. So having masters in information systems, it has given me more insight about the systems development. Like during my master's program, I have studied SDLC, like system development lifecycle, data warehousing, database design, database development. So though I don't use this concept in my day-to-day job, but it will give me a better understanding on the systems development, especially working in the clinical data management field. And if we look at the down the line, like the coming 5 to 10 years, there is like a lot of these tech companies, especially Amazon, Google, they are heavily investing in clinical research field and also into the healthcare sector. So being a pharmacy graduate, if you understand this information systems concept and if you try to learn new technologies like Python or programming and this artificial intelligence and machine learning, it will definitely be useful for you in your career. So it's not like directly useful in my day-to-day job, but it's definitely useful for me in the long
Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. And
run. No
yeah,
problem.
can you tell the scope of CDM? How is the scope? In yeah, US you can say no problem, yeah, because you are working there. Yeah.
Mhm.
So how is the
So
scope?
the Yeah, so what I have noticed, clinical data management really has a very good scope in terms of opportunities also, but because there is uh, no end for clinical trials in the pharmaceutical industry. So until the clinical trials are there, definitely there is a need for SAS programmers, clinical data managers, statisticians, and also all other fields. So, like these are the core key roles. So until the pharmaceutical industry is like very active on conducting all the clinical trials, then definitely there will be a lot of scope for this clinical research domain fields, especially like the SAS programmers, statisticians, and data managers.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
You're welcome.
Srikant. Yeah. So this is the end of the podcast, guys. So any more questions you have or we haven't covered yet in this podcast, you can just directly write in below comment section. We will try from both our ends and discuss and just we'll give the feedback to you guys, and you can check in the www.educationpharma.com website. There also you can put on your queries. I have got so many questions from you guys, that's why we thought to have this podcast. So thank you everyone for staying in tune with us for such a long time. See you again. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.